Hello and welcome to the Gone Traveling podcast. We are looking at the BKT EuroCup, the road to greatness. We have reached the semifinals. The final four is right upon us. Us being myself, David Hein, and Sergio Llebres. I'm in Regensburg, Germany, and Sergio is over in Valencia. Possible champions of the Euro Cup. Sergio, how you doing?
Hi, David. Hi, everyone. Yeah, semifinals are here. Two very good series, and maybe they follow a little bit the plot because if we have in mind Gran Canaria's title very recently in 2023, Bahcesehir's aspirations, Valencia's EuroLeague's path a couple years ago, Hapoel Tel Aviv's aspirations too. These are four out of the five, six teams that we could imagine in the semifinals. So the level is so good, and we had a very good playoffs. And now looking forward to see these first games, and I hope they give us very good basketball. And I think they will.
Yeah, no real surprises at
No,
this stretch of the season. Uh, a couple years ago we had Bursaspor with the Besiktas guys over there. That was obviously an amazing fairy tale run. But these are big guns that we kind of all expected to be there. Definitely, at least in the running. Just to run down the schedule. So the first games are Tuesday, March 25th. The second games Friday, March 28th, and then any possible third games, best of three are the series, are Wednesday, April 2nd. Uh, Kind of unfortunate that EuroLeague is doing a double rounder,
yeah,
that you couldn't give the first game, at least the first game of the semifinals, some center stage, let the whole, it's your competition. And that was kind of a bit unfortunate that you have a double rounder that you can't like have everybody focus on the at least the first game of the semifinals. Obviously, Friday you're gonna have a EuroLeague anyhow. So basically, this show is we're only breaking down the semifinals, giving a predictions at the end, and let's start with the matchup that's already happened twice this year, and that's going to be Bahcesehir against Gran Canaria. And Bahcesehir is 9-0 at home. They haven't lost at home in the league, in the Euro Cup. 5-4 on the road. Gran Canaria 6-3 at both. The two matchups, Gran Canaria won at home 66-63. That was way back on October 9th in round three. Bahcesehir won 73-65 at home. That was round 12. I actually just went back and watched the game, and they were both at, I think, 9-1 or 10-1. They were both top two in the group at the same at the time. Bahcesehir had the big first quarter. They were up by 20 early in the game because of some three pointers, but it ended up being just the 8-point game. Kind of going back and looking at that game, I don't know how much we can really take out of it. Massenberg had just come back two games before. There was no Sipahi, there was no Kirkmas, Gran Canaria. They still had Alocen before his
exactly.
injury, and they also didn't have Guama. So, some very important players are gone or have arrived. Gran Canaria, they've won their last four games, but they're struggling in the league. Their win over the weekend that snapped the three-game losing streak. They have a game. It's gonna be a tough game at Girona. Girona's battling relegation,
Yeah.
but they've won this. They've won in 2025 at home against Barcelona, Baskonia, Unica, Juventud, and Murcia. Um,
Yeah.
and then and then on the other side, and I'll let you get in a second. Bahcesehir, they've lost their last two road games in the Euro Cup, but they already kind of secured that top spot. Um, did you realize, or did you know that Bahcesehir? did not win a game in February. They did
Yeah,
not win a game in February in the league or in the Euro Cup. But since that four-game losing streak, they've won three in a row, and they have a game against Dashavaka over the weekend on the road. So and one more thing, and then I'll let you go, is that both of these teams are used to close games. Gran Canaria in the Euro Cup, 10 games decided by 4 points or fewer. And they're 8-2 in those games. One of those games was the round three game 66-63 win over Bahcesehir. Bahcesehir in games 5 points or fewer, 5-1, the only loss being against Gran Canaria. And all of those five victories have come in the calendar year 2025. So there's a little bit of a breakdown where the clubs are, whatnot. I'll let you kind of take over where you want to
yeah,
go from there.
yeah. You said it all. I think there are
Well,
many.
there's more to say, but
No, I know, but there are many factors to take account on and it really goes down to the home court advantage, as you said. Firstly, Bahcesehir needs the first to grab the first win there. Gran Canaria seems like they only have the fuel, the necessary fuel when they play home. And if you remember, Gran Canaria when they played Hapoel Jerusalem, they lost also against Baskonia. They were winning by 17, I think. They were winning very well, and the second half was horrendous for Gran Canaria, and fans from there, from the islands, were not very optimistic about the Jerusalem's game, and they dealt with it, and they could afford it very well. So it's important to know how the teams arrive from the national competition, but it really this is like a mini bubble where you forget all, not all, not everything, but you forget um, the the national competition, and if you can really focus on EuroCup, that's the only thing. I mean, these teams had 14 and 12 wins in regular season, and that's the main thing. I know they didn't have Sepahi, Kormas, and other guys in the last matchup, and Massenberg was also um, kind of getting into the rhythm. But Gran Canaria showed that, from what I know, that Carlos Alocen is very important, but they could manage that loss. And I don't know, guys like Andrew Albisi are taking a step forward again, because he's like 35 years old and he has a lot of leadership. That's something very important in these kind of games. And Gran Canaria has on its roster two great scorers like Holmesley, Joe Thomason, that they were great in the last game, and also Maiden Wama, that it was a late signing, and they 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 were very good um taking him, like selecting him, and it's going to be fun to see if Marko Simonovic can make a very second straight game. He had 20 points in last game in quarterfinals, and it's going to be a very good matchup with Odiase, and like the fours and fives have a lot of work to do here with Tyler Kamanog and guys like that. And I'm curious to see this third matchup that Gran Canaria and Bahcesehir didn't even play each other never in the EuroCup, and now they are having their third game.
where do you um,
Mhm.
talk a little bit more about the matchups. Where do you see maybe the deciding factor coming down?
Yeah, in it re for me it really comes in one name, that it's like the opposite of what you could think because of these two choral teams. But from what I saw in the quarterfinals, maybe the X factor for me could be Jalin Smith. For
My
me,
MVP.
yeah, I think he's the one that could. I talked about Simonovic, but that's kind of a curious thing. But the thing I know is that Jalin Smith is going to be a differential. He's a EuroLeague caliber guy, and he showed that in the very bad moments he can step up. You only had to remember the Servita game where he was fantastic to come back and to like make all his teammates like get up and take the game. So for me, the main thing is Jalin Smith, by his name and himself, and also the rebounding. Stopping Odiase from getting to the rim. I think that Cervita made a very good thing in the first half. That was to get Odiase uncomfortable in defense and making adjustments and having him in a difficult situations that he's not used to handle. And it's going to be interesting if Mike Toby can do that, if I don't know, Pierre Pelos, Condit can do that, and also Jakalagovic, of course.
Both of these teams play defense.
Yeah.
So it's number one in points allowed is Bahcesehir with 75.1. Second is Gran Canaria, so 76.7. So there's gonna be defense. So you're looking through the stats, trying to figure out, okay, what could be a difference. Bahcesehir doesn't turn the ball over. They commit the fewest turnovers in the competition. Gran Canaria Gran Canaria is 11th. They commit so what would it be? They're 11th. Bahcesehir, on the other hand, even though they play defense, they don't necessarily commit. They don't necessarily force turnovers. They only force 12.4. They don't go for the turnovers necessarily. So turnovers, always important, but I don't think this one's going to be that much of a factor because neither side really go for the turnover. So one thing that I did notice is Gran Canaria is 13th in defensive offensive rebounds. So they allow offensive rebounds, and Rochester is not the greatest offensive rebound. They're sort of middle of the pack, but the fact that Gran Canaria are kind of soft in the middle as far as the offensive glass, that speaks for Oriassi and also Simonovic. Oriassi had 4 offensive rebounds in the game back in round whatever it was, 12. So that's going to be an important factor in my eyes. These games, I imagine, would be close. Both of these teams have a lot of experience in tight games and have been successful. I gave you the records. Both of these teams have a lot of weapons. Bahcesehir, 8 guys with 7.9 points or more, and that doesn't include Korkmaz or Sabahi. Gran Canaria have 8 guys with 7 points. So it's a matter of somebody's going to step up, and so
Yeah,
it's like who's going to be. I
exactly.
think if I'm a Bahcesehir fan, the big shot capability of Brasino kind of scares me. And also maybe a little bit of the athleticism you mentioned, Thomason and Holmesley, that kind of scares me. Those 2 factors. But on the other hand, I think Oriassi is going to be too much to handle inside, and Simonovic is also going to cause problems. But you mentioned Smith, and I got to give credit to the other guy, Punica, because Punica he comes up with big plays too. And so I think Jalene Smith and Matheus Pianico, they've been through so many big games, both club basketball but also National League basketball, that I kind of think that those 2 guys are going to be the deciding factors.
Yeah, experience is a matter of thing here. And Bonitka. He had some up and downs in this season, if I remember well. And yeah, maybe uh, in Gran Canaria, you can expect that some of the guys that can step up doesn't really have experience that experience that we're talking about. So it's kind of contradictory because you need some guys to score the ball in the biggest moments, and they don't even lift that kind of situations really. But EuroCup has it these kind of things where new players in the continental platform or scenario come up. So I expect a big game from both of them. Yeah, from both teams.
All right, prediction time. What do you got?
I don't know. Yeah, for the first two games, I have one. I
Ah,
think
1-1. Okay. Uh-huh.
for the first two
And then
games, yeah.
who wins game three? Come on, man. Give us a
Uh,
pick.
I gotta go. I know you're going to go with Bahcesehir, maybe. So I got Gran Canaria just to bother you a little bit.
No, don't bother me. Who you picking?
No,
Who's
no,
your
no,
pick,
no.
man?
Gran Canaria. Yeah.
So Gran Canaria is gonna go to Istanbul and take game three.
Ah, with their very bad strike. Yeah, streak.
They're
Sorry.
gonna do. Okay. I actually have Bahcesehir 2-0. I don't think that I think they're gonna try to finish it on the road
Yeah.
and not have to worry about coming back home. So I got 2-0. So you got 2-1 Gran Canaria. All right, let's move over to the other series, and we have Valencia Basket against Hapoel Shlomo Tel Aviv. Yeah, Valencia actually both teams with 8-1 home records. Valencia, on the other hand, 8-1 at home, and Tel Aviv at 4-5 on the road. Valencia 6-0 in the EuroCup since their loss at Ryder Venice back on January 2nd. At least 96 points in every game except the 72-66 slugfest win at Cedevita. The poor shooting night that they had there was kind of actually pretty good message for them that they can win kind of ugly games. Valencia, if I'm not mistaken, only two losses at home this entire season, right? Lead Cabellas in the Eurocup and Barcelona back in on February 9th, 100 to 86. So only two losses in the entire season at home for Valencia. Tel Aviv, four straight wins and seven of the last eight. The only loss being the meltdown where they were up by 13 points in the fourth quarter and lost 84-83 at Borussia. Since that game, they've won 10 of 11 games, including beating Bahcesehir at Ulm and then in the league against Maccabi. And actually, one more note, and then I'll let you chime in. 6-0 since the termination of the contract with Patrick Beverly. I'll, I'll let you go. What do you
This
got?
is yeah. For me, this is like a very solid team in terms of, as you said, I don't know, consistency or some regular situation with its players, and then like a roller coaster team. So it's going to be interesting, and also I don't know. I gotta give credit to Itudis and Tel Aviv because I don't know. There are very things have happened to this team. You know, no, Motley going for like 2 weeks in its G League Erasmus or something like that, and then he came back to the team. Some players coming late in the season, like Marcus Bingham, that he showed like he can really be very useful in some determined moments. Also, I don't know, Jan Madar that came late in the season, and and some players that were kind of I don't know. I was doubting about Marcus Foster. I'm getting into very specific names, but I don't want to forget about them because Marcus Foster for me was the kind of guy that you see in the beginning of the season making good numbers and then like uh, fading away in favor of the great starts of the team. But he's doing great, and he was the key factor for the quarterfinals and also for some big wins for Tel Aviv, and he was the main regular character through a team that was a roller coaster. So I gotta give also his flowers, and yeah, this is a team that I, I feel like there's um, two type of teams here because Valencia is very deep. You don't know what's gonna be like the Pedro Martinez starting five, and the rotations are always very short, and everyone plays uh, it they're very little short of time in the court, and then you have Hapoel Tel Aviv that that you know the 5 6 main guys, and you expect them to play 20 something, almost 30 minutes, and but I think the Tel Aviv has a lot of alternatives also. And let's see if they can slow down Valencia, as we saw in the last game against Tur Telecom. They had a very low start and they maintained that rhythm, and it went well for them. And also let's see if they can take the rebounds and the rebounding and dominating in the paint. That's going to be a very good test for Valencia. I don't know. You have Matt Costello and also almost that's it for Valencia in the five. You have Matt Costello and Nate Rivers, and against physical guys like Motley, Bingham, and Caboclo. So it's going to be very interesting because Amida Brima, I don't count. It's like the profile player for that type of defense rebounding game, but he isn't really playing a lot for Pedro Martinez. I think the coach
What
has.
is the status of him? I mean, because I saw he didn't really play for about like 5, 6 weeks until coming
Yeah,
back.
yeah, he was hurt by the ankle 2 times, but very little things,
Mhm.
and he didn't get into the rhythm very well. And I don't know, he was the starter center in last game against Juventud there in Badalona, and he played like for 3 minutes, 3 minutes or four, and he didn't play at all. The partial was very bad. Valencia started losing like for 15-5 or something like that, and Brima wasn't very good. And Pedro Martinez said, "You're not playing anymore." And then Valencia came back and they won very very well. So um, I think he's going through the Ethan Happ's process now. Uh, Officially, Happ is injured, but uh, let me doubt a little bit of about that because I don't think it's the main thing there, and I think Brima's going through the same process that he's losing confidence of the coach, and they play with Costello and Rivers and at the five, and that's almost it. And maybe you could expect Pradilla playing the five, but with this kind of against this kind of team as Apoel Tel Aviv, it's difficult. But well, we saw Jaime Pradilla playing in the EuroLeague last year on the five when Brandon Davis was injured, or Nate Rivers was also injured. So it's going to be a very good test for him.
Yeah, because I kind of thought Brima might be kind of a help
Yeah,
against Mobley.
that,
So you mentioned rebounding. So Valencia do allow offensive rebounds? but Tel Aviv don't get offensive rebounds, so that's uh, Valencia allow the 17th most, but Hapoel are 16th in offensive rebounds. Valencia also do turn the ball over. We've talked about that.
A lot.
But they get so many offensive rebounds. They're second in offensive rebounds, 13 a game. That makes up for those positions, and they're first in three pointers.
Yeah.
39% on three pointers, and also they don't allow three pointers. 29%. They're first in defensive percentage on three pointers. So if you get the off, if you manage to maybe get an offensive rebound, which Valencia do allow, they're not letting you hurt them with the three pointer, Whereas if the Valencia get an offensive rebound, which they're very good at, they're also first in three pointers. So you mentioned it. It seems to me like offensive rebounds is an absolute must for Tel Aviv, and they're gonna have to hit threes, and they're also not very good at that. They're only 13th in the league, not even 34%. So you just put all you look at personnel, you look at stats, and you're like, I don't think, I don't think this is going to happen,
Yeah.
for, for, for Tel Aviv. I think Badio and Montero will slow down Madar. And then I think that Jones Puerto versus Foster matchup is going to be a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Um, Caboclo gonna have to have a big game. He's only scored 17 points in the last four games. He scored 19 against Trento, 16 against Budućnost before that. But you're gonna probably have to score in the very minimum upper 80s, I would say,
Mhm.
right? Where the point's going to come. And so, Kabolka can light it up. You've seen what he's done in the past. I'm sure Tel Aviv fans are looking for Brazil national team Caboclo, but I think production from other guys is definitely going to be a must because you know that Valencia are going to light it up.
Yeah. This first game, I think it's very, very important for both, obviously, but especially this first game because the neutral court thing for Tel Aviv. We know that they asked the EuroLeague to play there in Israel, and they deny it. So now Tel Aviv, I know that they are uh, making pressure to Valencia, to the organization, to get 10 times the quantity, the
Of
amount.
tickets.
Yeah, 10
Of
times
tickets. Okay.
from 200 to 2000. And
Okay.
it's literally impossible because in La Fonteta there are eight, almost 9,000 seats, and 7,000 or more than 7,000 are for people that go usually
Season
with
ticket
their season
holders.
ticket. So it's
Yeah.
impossible physically. So I know they are trying to get more people from more fans in Valencia that literally in Bulgaria. So they are trying to get that home advantage anywhere. I think it's comprehensive, and I think it's normal for them, but it's physically impossible. And yeah, as you said, rebounding is going to be very important. But I think Valencia numbers are magnified because of their rhythm. If you can slow down Valencia and make them play a normal rhythm and a normal amount of positions, everything, the absolute numbers, the total numbers, uh, slow down obviously, but everything is like standardized, you know. So they play a different in a different competitive, I don't know, atmosphere. So you you get amazed by their numbers, but because they try to inflate those numbers by playing more possessions. But if you can slow them down, it comes all down to efficiency, to the 100 possession per 100 possession ratings and things like that, and everything gets like balanced, and you can play them very well. But if you get them to shoot 20 times more than you, it's
Yeah.
impossible. It's impossible.
Well,
That's
but
that's
that
Valencia's
actually,
thing.
that could, work for, okay, I mean, Tel Aviv, you look at, okay, well, can they do it? They're fourth in offense
Of
in
course.
defensive points, 78, and they do score. They're third in the league in
Mhm.
scoring, 87 and 7,
Yeah.
uh 80, almost 88 points a game. So they are able to put points on the board.
Yeah.
It's all going to be about not allowing offensive rebounds. Like I said, 13 offensive rebounds a game for Valencia, and then because that's where it kill you. You get an offense, you get a defensive rebound, you stop the possession. There's no chance of a three pointer where they're shooting 39%. So I mean, Tutis, Coach Tutis is probably going to say, "Listen, guys, we have to allow 9 offensive rebounds or fewer. That's the number one goal, and then maybe hopefully stop some three point shooting. Tel Aviv's not bad in that regard. They only allow 33% from long range. So it's not they're not that bad in that area. So, but yeah, prediction time. What do you got? What do you got? Or do you want me to go first?
No, I'm with a solid 2-0 here. Firstly, I think I said 2-1,
I
but
can't believe you said that.
yeah, yeah, I know. But
Nothing against Tel Aviv.
I, I
Nothing
had
against
I had a
Tel
very
Aviv.
bad feeling back then with Valencia, so it was more than because of that than for Tel Aviv. And I think Valencia's biggest rival in this EuroCup is itself. So I think they are in a good moment. They are rested, so I gotta go with Valencia's 2-0. Yeah,
I got 2-0 Valencia too. I don't see a game. I don't see a game. I don't see you having to work Wednesday, April 2nd for a Euro
yeah,
Cup game. I think they will give you that one off. So
yeah. And I think they have very good chances. I know if you remember, there's the Rots Arena that they are building, and they don't have nothing on their hand to get to the EuroLeague besides the EuroCup title. And they need to assure and make sure that they are in the EuroLeague, not to play that to play it instantly next year because of the stadium, that's very important, but to build the next team for next season. If you're on mid July and you don't even know what competition you're playing, all EuroLeague teams get the players, and you can really make nothing to get a good team, a planification. And I'm saying this because this week Valencia started negotiating with Pedro Martinez to renew, and that's a sign that the project is going forward, something that didn't happen with Peñarroya, Alex Mumbrú. And so this is very important because this is like a before and after year for Valencia in their
was he
project.
brought in on a 1-year contract,
Yeah,
Martinez?
yeah, because for example, no, Peñarroya, he was great with Burgos and in international teams. And now so I refer to BCL with Burgos and things like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they signed
Two,
him only for
two
1 year.
championships.
Yeah, they signed him only for 1 year, and that didn't mean confidence. Uh,
Mhm.
I've won, and now you want me, but you give me only 1 year. It's not comprehensive. And then they gave Alex Mumbrú, that didn't have experience in EuroLeague, 3 years. That's not also very common.
Yeah.
They try to give him the project, uh, I don't know, with the eyes closed. And now you get a very experienced coach like Pedro that gave you a national championship also, and you give him 1 year, but you start negotiating on March. That's, I think, the you see how it's going, everything, and you start very soon to negotiate to planificate everything. That's the thing I was referring to. Like you get the coach on March, I don't know, in April, where when are the finals? On
8, 11, and 16 April.
Yeah, you know you're playing EuroLeague or not officially on April. So
Yeah. Mid-April,
that's
you'll know
going,
if you're in the EuroLeague or not.
yeah, that's going to make it very easy for Valencia in next summer. So they are
Yeah.
very worried to win the EuroCup, as everyone I know.
And I
But
was gonna say the other ones
yeah,
are
yeah,
too.
I know. But this year especially, they are very. I don't know. I can remember the year from Virtus, Partizan. It was a great year for EuroCup,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they weren't on this scenario of the new arena with everything changing for them with more money on the salaries. So they are trying to make the next step in the club.
All right. Let's end on that note.
Yeah,
Plenty of Valencia talk. Sergio, let people know where they can find you on the social medias,
yeah. I'm Llebres 11, double L EBRES 11.
and that's on Twitter and in the Blue Sky. I myself am also on both of those. Much more active on Twitter still. Blue Sky, yeah, so. And that is Hein News, HEINNEWS. And with that, we will let you go. Hopefully, everybody enjoys the action. I imagine those teams who win the games on Tuesday and then on Friday will be happier. We will have a podcast for you next weekend. So, well, yeah, not this coming weekend because the games won't be played, but we will probably have a show tentatively scheduled for Saturday, being the 29th. Yeah, Saturday, the 29th of March. So until then, I hope everybody has a good one. This has been the Gone Traveling podcast. We'll talk to you next week.